Where are you, caster? I'm right here, bro. I'm right here. Solo casting for you today, as I'm forever alone. You haven't missed anything, by the way. The match is paused. So if you are curious on what's going on. So I suppose it's the best time for it to crash, really. There we go. Right, in the nick of time. So, you've missed absolutely nothing. We are live into the first pistol round of today's proceedings. Obviously, 2 maps between Fnatic and Heroic, and then later on, we have ourselves more epic CS. I believe it's Nip and Penta. So, pretty heavy Swedish affair today. But Cobblestone will see Heroic start on the T side. And in the meanwhile, Fnatic are going to be stacking 3 on the B play. Olofmeister's there alongside Dennis, and they're going to try the crossfire with the USPs. It's going to be pretty rough for the Heroic boys to get themselves out. The flashbang's definitely going to go one way, at least of landing the headshot on towards Olof. In the meanwhile, Snappy just behind on Valda. Sees Dennis drop to 45, but he does get one frag on the retreat. Valda comes back with a headshot. 3 plays 3. Still a minute to play with for Heroic. And that 2-for-2 exchange up on B plat. You'd certainly fancy Heroic to have the advantage now, because Fnatic can't put all their eggs in this B basket, especially as Heroic are playing with the time a little bit. So that's going to force Twist's hand to go back towards A. If Heroic went for the fast play now, they would have the player advantage, but that smoke could give it away a little bit as Molly's going to be coming out here. Venton, in the meanwhile, from Chicken Coop, is going to be watching with the USP. He needs to get a kill here before falling, for me, if Fnatic want a chance, especially as the time is getting pretty low. But Glaive just charges straight out with the Glock. Benton is going to get picked off through the smoke as well, courtesy of Glaive. He's got 2 this round, alongside Valda, who's got 3. Fnatic concede the first round. I said at the time there, felt like Venton was the key man. Didn't quite pull it out, ran through the smoke, and got wrecked. Rip. Hopefully it'll be 31-28. I mean, Kurosaki, I honestly would love to have some 6CS. I'm not sure if my voice could take it again, though. I feel like I might get a bit wrecked. So Fnatic go for the Force, as you expect in the second round from CT's perspective. No reason not to. Every team does this, of course. Sometimes you'll see a player, you know, the likes of Oscar step to mind here, but obviously rip Oscar. Ooh, that nade though on Dennis. I was going to say that may go for an eco or a very small buy investment into this round so they can get the AWP quicker. But I feel like Fnatic aren't one of those teams. So CZ's 5-7s. Dennis has been picked off after the nade landed by his feet up on the alcove. And now Fnatic, without any grenades, are really hoping for the best. They do have a flank for Twist, who is slowly but surely creeping his way round the back of Heroic, which could be a bit of a pain in the backside. And he's about to re-embark on his endeavours. It's just going to come down to timing. If Heroic execute before Twist gets there, it could be all over. As the rest of his team are starting to drop like flies. Twist is going to get himself the 1 kill from behind. That forces Valda's hands to turn his back. In the meanwhile, Snappy just charges out onto the site. And Fnatic haven't done a terrible job in this round, all things considered. But it will see Heroic take a second at the cost of 3 weapons. They do keep one of the AK-47s in the hands of Glaive. So it could have been a lot worse, but the other weapon save was a MAC-10. They go back into the pocket and dig out some cash, and meanwhile Fnatic will be on to an eco. The 31 taps. Well, if first you don't succeed, try again. You got up to 30 bullets in the chamber. There should be a formality now for Heroic. You can't really see Fnatic getting a great deal done with USPs. They've got a 5-7 in the hands of Electro, but Freeze and Glaive close to death. Neither of them fall. And as expected, Heroic are going to take the 3-0. But this is the point where Fnatic can potentially bounce back on their CT side. Electro, the bottom fragger, the guy who's got 0 kills so far, or assists, although it is early days. He's on the UMP. No kits though for Fnatic, which will be a little bit worrisome, especially if Heroic He managed to crack on to one of the sites. Freeze, in the meanwhile, playing passive. Pretty standard setup for the terrorists. Just waiting for a CT potentially hang themselves in the noose. And Lecro, in the meanwhile, is going to be putting down some paint onto Glaive. So, the aforementioned UMP is going to go good. The downside, though, for Lecro is he loses a huge chunk of his health, and so therefore he has to back away as soon as possible. Heroic setting up for an attack onto A. Valda is going to be throwing up the smoke, but I'm more interested in Snappy. He's already made some inroads onto the site. Twist at the meanwhile on the back of the barrels is going to do a bit of damage, but now he's in a very close claustrophobic situation. And the terrorists are putting the hammer down. Fnatic really can't afford to lose this. And it started so well with the opening pick, but it's gone horribly wrong. Freeze through the smoke. It's a position you expect to see a CT peak. And Dennis finds out the hard way, leaving Olof, the beast himself, in a 1-on-4. Moddy and Snappy both low. I think Olof's just setting up for exit frags. There's really no hope of getting anywhere close to the site at this point. So Heroic will take a fourth. The question now is, can Olof take that M4 into the next rounds? And if Freeze has his way, that'll be a no. But he's been spotted and does a backflip. Lands on his neck. If the bullet didn't kill him, he'd break his neck anyway. It would seem that Olof is out for blood. Two of these players very low. Oh, make that all three of them. There's the first one, but he gets traded out. Certainly worthwhile for Heroic. And Fnatic back into a recession in terms of their funds, but they are going to go for a force, or at least a partial buy. I'm curious to see what the rest of the team go for here. Lecro's got the UMP, Dennis with the Deagle and Kevlar, but actually they don't go for the full force, so it's half buy territory. Still a very poor start to this map for Fnatic. Things are going to have to change pretty briskly. First rifle round going the way of the Danes. And Fnatic looking to hold on for dear life with that UMP. There's the Deagle as well, so the two weapons we saw coming into this round have both delivered. Dennis is looking for another one. He's landed it. Freeze is going to come back. It's a 3-on-2, however. Although Dennis is low, Freeze misses out on his shot. They have to be very careful because Dennis is wielding the Deagle. And his partner's gone down. Dennis lands the one-tap and picks up a 3-man in this round. Fnatic, in the most unlikely of rounds, have got it done. Very aggressive push from Heroic right into the Deagle. And you can see that Heroic have lost consistent weapons because right now, other than Snappy, the rest of them are in mid $3,000 range. So he's going to have to drop across. This is going to be a buy, but a very poor one at that. You can even see them after the buy time still deciding what they want to pick up for themselves. So 3 AKs, Galil Tech 9. Sacrificing firepower for a bit more grenade and utility. This does give Heroic plenty to play with here in round 6. But for the first time, Fnatic have an AWP in the hands of Twist. So let's see if he can pull anything off. He's going to be running on A with it alongside Benton, who's got the M4 closer range. Well, at least he was, but now they back away to a more passive position. And Valda takes off the head of Twist. The AWP has fallen down for a few seconds. Does anyone want to reclaim it? I mean, there is always the threat of maybe Valda teeing off for a second frag, but he's actually pushed up into the murder hole now. You still see that Olofmeister's chilling on the tree. Here is Valda's position, playing this one very passively. Now that he's got the murder hole, it is a pretty key part. Of course, that will stop the rotation through up onto the balcony for the CTs. Freeze, in the meanwhile, is holding fast. There is Valda. He goes for the push. He plays aggressively, and he will get the rewards. And there's a second frag. And his third into this round. It's all been Valda so far in round 6. And with 30 seconds to go, Fnatic, who just reset their own loss bonus, only have a UMP in the hands of Lecro. And is he seriously thinking about going for this? There's really no hope of him getting this clutch. He doesn't have a kit. He's only got 2 flashes. Maybe he's going to try and get himself an AK and take that out of the round, but that's really the best case scenario. And he still gets taken down from Valda, who gets a 4-man. Beautiful play, 9 for 3 in total. And Heroic, who started, it has to be said, they started really poorly in this league. they were rock bottom for quite a while alongside Flipside, and now starting to get onto winning ways. They're 6-14 this season, which still isn't great, but of course if they can take these 2 maps today, they're playing for respect, really. Playing for pride. I don't think there's any mathematical chance of them qualifying. It's the top 6 that qualify, and they're currently in 12th position. And some 18 or 19 points behind Fnatic, who are currently in 6th. So on paper, we think Fnatic should at least get a map out of this one. But so far, it's gone incredibly poorly. The CZ and M4 combo up long is going to deliver 2 frags, however. So that puts Fnatic in a position to maybe take this round and get a second one for themselves. And now they've traded out the 1-up for a second one. And it's just Lekro who's running with a pistol. And he is the man that is to be found out, courtesy of Glaive. So, what will Heroic do in this 3-on-4? There is a distinct lack of grenades for Fnatic in the minute to play with. Bomb transitioning through onto the A side of the map. And it's still Glaive who's lurking around drop. This does give Heroic the opportunity to wrap themselves around for the rotation towards the B side. And now Glaive is really thinking about this. He's trying desperately to get another pick so they can explode out onto the site. There's only 32 seconds left, so Snappy, Glaive and Moddy have their work cut out for them. Dennis is on a carpet of fire, but he is going to trade out for the 1 frag. That could be good enough. Glaive, in the meanwhile, sees the barrel of the gun sticking through. What? He actually shoots through the wall head height. That's a preemptive spray, but Olafmeister is too quick on the draw. Fnatic will pick up a second round, and their 2 rounds they've got so far have came from very poor buys. It's been these forced buys / ecos. Pretty typical though, isn't it? And now Heroic are back into another buy that we saw them pick up just a couple rounds prior, and they made that work. 2 Tech 9s, a couple of AKs, plenty of nades though. I knew when I saw that we'd get some back shouts. The tinfoil hats would go on. The conspiracy theories are real. Look at Valda's aggression though, straight through the smoke, fearing no man. Dennis is the next player that may have to deliver on the back of the statue. Let's jump on board with his perspective. Twist is going to get the frag on the cross, however. And that alleviates some of the pressure that's building on top of Dennis. The flashes are constantly raining in. That's going to cost Dennis his life. In the meanwhile, Freeze from behind. Fnatic have done a pretty decent job of stabilising into this round, but they still find themselves a player behind. Benton, the spray, in effect, 2-on-2. Make that a 2-on-1, all on Moddy. He's got the Galil. He should have the drop on Benton, and there we go. He gets the kill. Still a minute to play with, but Twist has the AWP. Can Twist deliver? The bombs drop right next to him. He knows that Moddy has to make a move. No grenade. This is where, from a T's perspective, he'd love to go for a flashbang, maybe smoke. This could all just come down to time. Honestly, it's going to go the way of Twist, who comes round the corner at the perfect moment. 3 kills for him, 2 for Benton, and Fnatic have picked up a 3rd. And that was looking so poor after Valda just charged out, landing himself the entry. And now that puts Heroic into a straight up eco. Just Moddy and Glaive will have upgraded pistols. Rest of the team with Glocks. Thought it may come down to timing. Indeed it did. The timing gods were on the side of the Swedes today. Now Heroic have no nades into this. This is pretty much a throwaway round if ever you've seen one. Expecting them to just charge out all guns blazing. We can see Glaive is set up for a potential drop push. Try and keep the CTs interested over on the B side of the map while the rest of the team go elsewhere. The Tech 9 comes in. If he can land the frag onto Lekro, it does make things interesting, but it would only be a UMP that was taken down in return. And now Twist is going to be padding his stats. Or will he? Could actually be falling down, and indeed he will. Moddy, in the meanwhile, with the P250, making this round a little bit more interesting. You ever expected another one? What is happening here, Fnatic? Surely you're not going to let this round slip of all of them. 3 kills and almost a straight-up eco is not a bad start at all. Fnatic just about hold on, pick up the AWP as well, so at least they keep 2 of the most expensive weapons under their possession. And do take a 4th round. Is this Richard Lewis? No. We're from, I guess, I think Richard's from a few different places, but I know he used to live up north. So, there are some similarities, I guess. So this is one of the first rounds where we've really seen both teams have full rifles. I think only the second one, because of how the economic battle, the economic game of chicken has been going back and forth so much. Still Venton on UMP, but both teams have a solid buy in this round. In terms of grenades, though, certainly favouring Heroic. You are Richard Lewis. I swear. Okay, you got me. I wasn't, but must be now. Nice flick, though, from Twist. I'll take a lave. Snappy and Moddy both going to have to try and push their way through the fire, and Twist can use that opportunity to get 2 more kills. Twist setting this round alight just by himself. The AWP has been ringing out true, leaving Freeze now all that remains. Blackcrow comes in, makes sure that Long doesn't get pushed on. Can Freeze get this done? There's the first one, but he loses 90 of his health. And Twist is going to quickly scamper his way round the back with a P250. But Freeze has already got up there. 25 seconds left. The bomb is on the site, but not planted. Twist is going to get himself found out, but spins around, and therein lays the issue of only having 10 health. One stray bullet will kill you. Twist with a 4-man. Moves to 11 and 7. Just one shy of Valda's 12 and 7, who started this map so very well. But 5 to 5, all even. And this could be the first time that Fnatic take the lead. You can see there they've been trailing since the very start. But they're on the cusp of taking the lead now. Although Heroic do have pistols and Kevlar. And of course, you can never count that out. This could be an absolute bloodbath, an absolute massacre, as Twist is going to come in with yet another kill. And a second one. I'm expecting this to execute onto the site, into the crossfire. Fnatic take the lead for the first time. Here comes another buy. And Twist continues to shine. I mean, people have been saying this for the longest time before he even joined Fnatic. That he is one of those players that's, you know, pretty crazy Swedish talent. That should have been in top tier teams, but for whatever reason never picked it. And they were offers to him, by the way. So it's good to see him performing. Fnatic seemingly turning their fortunes around a little bit, not just in this map, but recently they've got a couple of decent results. They have certainly been struggling, I think it's safe to say, and Twist gets his head picked off. The curse of the commentator is real. It's the first time we've actually seen that setup from Fnatic, and Heroic will dispatch it with haste. And considering that he has been a star player with that AWP, that's a pretty key pick. Olofmeister's no scrub, though. Let's be real. Picking up the AWP second. You know what this guy is capable of. Valda will put down Lekro, and that leaves a gaping hole now in the middle of Cobblestone. A map that takes a long time to rotate for the CTs. It can be a real nightmare. Freeze spots Venton on the cross. Can't quite connect the dots, but was pretty close to doing just that. More importantly, though, it is a bit of information. With Venton rotating himself into the doors, Heroic know that the site is completely clear. And now it could come down to Valda and how many frags he wants to pick up for himself. Now remember that Heroic's economy is in no great shape. They can't afford to lose multiple weapons here. So I assume that Valda, if he does die, they could end up just pulling back and not bothering for these next two. And that's pretty much what's happening. It surprises me to an extent that Snappy's going in for this. I mean, this could be really stinging for Heroic if they lose a couple more players here. There's the second one, but they have cleaned it up. So, a decent trade in the end for Heroic. I was a bit worried in case they lost 2 or 3 players. Not going to happen. They can easily replenish those weapons. But you can see that likes of Valda and Snappy are low on funds. However, they're up against an ecoed Fnatic. So, all even again, but we saw the last time Dennis had a deagle, he picked up 3 kills and Fnatic took it back for themselves. Oh, and it's a pretty stacked long defense here for Fnatic. There's the one tap for Twist. Nicely done. Already the terrorists have got themselves through onto the site. The problem for them, though, is that the CTs have wrapped themselves through onto mid. So, at this stage, Heroic are a little bit pincered off. The issue, though, for the CTs, they don't have a great deal of grenades, but they are landing the shots where it counts. It's now a 2-on-1 with Moddy with an all-to-do. Benton will drop, leaving Twist and the deagle. And it only takes one dig, and this round is over. Twist has him on the cross, misses the first try, and Moddy taps his way to victory. But Heroic lost 4 weapons in that round, and we saw their economy was already struggling a little bit at the start of that one. They haven't managed to get themselves out of that sticky situation just yet. Fnatic, in the meanwhile, with UMP and a FAMAS, a lack of AWP, so Twist's not going to be able to tee off as much as we've seen beforehand up on long. Instead, they're going for the double stack. Flash is landing in the eyes of Lekro. And also Olof, but it's not actually going to be the play on B. It's going to be a hit on towards the A side. Twist is good for 2 kills, which is actually really significant because it stops the initial charge and now allows the CTs to get a couple more players across, but the dome shot in for Valda. That's going to keep the CTs honest, and now they can't fully rotate through onto A with so much time left on top of that. So a very spread out defense. Without grenades too, it should be mentioned. At this stage, if the CTs had a couple of smokes, it may not be quite bad. They can cordon off an area and play behind that. But as it stands, without any nades other than a flashbang, got to play for this. Dennis. The cheeky mid-air one tap. But he's going to get the spray. Nearly loses his life as a result of jumping while reloading out into the open. It's not necessarily advisable, but it seems like they could get away with this. Snappy on the site. It's the bomb planted. And here comes the reinforcements for the Swedes. Dennis and Olof up against Snappy. Scratch that. Make it just Dennis now. With 23 health. Is Snappy really going to pull this off? This would be a body blow for Fnatic. And he's going to get the spray. Snappy with the 1v2 clutch. A 3k in total. And Fnatic, with its economy on the cusp of losing out 9-6 at the end of the first half, which would be a great result for Heroic. Oh, look at this buy. Fnatic right into the bottom of the barrel. Be curious to see how Benton plays with the MP9. I assume it's going to be up close and long. It would make the most sense, considering he's a long defender. And you can see the formation now for Fnatic. You can see Twist playing the doors. It's a position similar to Connector on a lot of maps, like Train, for example, when you go for a similar sort of setup here. Now, the Twist can easily wrap himself to B if needs be, but he can also stick on A. Bomb dropped out in a salvageable position. Applying the pressure in drop, and Lekro has to get out of dodge. Molly not quite on the right side of drop as far as Heroic are concerned, otherwise that could have been a barbecue. But have a quick look at this. Benton is moving himself around the back. Now, it could prove to be fruitless. We've already seen Twist do this before. But just keep an eye on your minimap. I'm going to jump on board with him as Valda gets caught in midair. The bomb is down as well. Benton with the MP9 probably not going to get anything else done. Did dink freeze on top of that, so he's doing a serious job. And of course, the information on top of that's so important, but they weren't expecting Snappy. You assume that when Benton gets round the back of the terrorist, there's going to be no one else around the A site, but Snappy's already in position. Perfect play as far as he's concerned. And now Dennis. This is a crazy situation against him, and it's not going to work. Heroic will take the half 9-6. Very well played indeed. So how are you guys doing in chat? What do you reckon? What's the prediction here? I saw some people saying 2-0 easy for Fnatic earlier on before we got this started. Do you still stick by that? Do you think Fnatic have got this in the bag? So while we're in this warm-up between the halves, let me just read down the ESL Pro League standings. So Mousesport's currently joint top with NiP, who are playing later on tonight. They're playing Penta. So as Mousesport's and NiP joining top. Dignitas are in 3rd place. VP in 4th. FaZe 5th. And Fnatic are in 6th, as I said before. Should be mentioned that FaZe and Fnatic are joint on points on 39. Whereas Heroic are currently down in 12th. They've got 18 points. And Penta, the team that NiP are playing later on in 2 best-of-1s, are currently 13th with just 15 points. 1-1, you think? 16-13 Heroic. How many games are left? So there's roughly, I think, 4 games left for Fnatic, obviously including this map. Dignitas, I think, have themselves a couple more games. My understanding is I think it's 24 matches they play. So FaZe, Fnatic have 4 games in hand, Envious have 4 games in hand, Na'Vi have 4 games in hand, and so do Hellraisers and Heroic. Fnatic sucks bad on Overpass. I suppose it's good news for them they're playing Train later on then. I probably sound different to usual because I've got a cold, and this microphone I'm using isn't sort of like the same quality as one that I would use at an event. So probably a mixture of those 2 things. Oh, it's 26 games. Right, got ya. Okay. So in that case, Dignitas and VP have 2 games left. Everyone else has 6 to 4 games left. So we still have a little bit to go in the ESL Pro League, and it's going to conclude over the next few days. Alright, here we go. Second half. Fnatic 6-9 behind. But of course, Cobblestone, the kind of map that the teams can do a lot of work on, and you expect Fnatic to at least make this map close. However, the first objective is to take the second pistol. Curious to see what kind of utility we see come up for both teams, and it's going to be Heroic with just the smoke on Snappy. No kit, interestingly, on Heroic. And meanwhile, Fnatic with just the smoke of their own. So let's see how this one plays out. The early damage inflicted in mid. We'll see Freeze coming out slightly worse for wear. Only 12 health is lost though, so no big deal. Block at range, of course, suck it. And Electro in the meanwhile is going to put the Glock to use at point-blank range. Twist getting himself the assist, and Fnatic have just completely run rampant through the drop zone, through onto A. And Heroic are playing a retake. This is where that defuse kit could be so important, and the lack of utility as well. Dennis point-blank range with a Tech 9 probably should have done better straight off the bat, but Modi is going to silence him afterwards alongside Glaive, keeping this round alive for the time being. And of course, the time is going to be ticking down very quickly now. Twist finally get picked off, so Fnatic, who are in such a good position, have let this one slip. But Venton with the USP comes good for the last 2 frags and would salvage the round for Fnatic. So the first objective has been accomplished. Can they keep it going? Could you explain what these games are for? I don't know. It's the ESL Pro League. You what, mate? Right, so basically, they play a league, and the top 6 teams qualify for the offline LAN. Is the very simple, short, sweet answer. So each win is for 3 points. Of course, if you lose, you get nothing. hear the hail of bullets up on long. And the decoy was tossed out as well. Molly going to try and keep the CTs off the platform and allow Fnatic to train their eyes onto the B side, where Valda is waiting with the 5-7. This is a range where it can really start to sting, and he's going to land himself 2 shots. Glaves with another one. Not like this, Fnatic. You just picked up the pistol round. Don't let it slip now. They're going to both be coming out into a bunch of pistols, leaving Benton left alive, and Fnatic have shat the beds. I think it's safe to say 3 AKs will trade hands as Heroic take the round down. Around Fnatic desperately needed to pick up for themselves, and well, Fnatic with as low as an economy as you could really ask for from a T's perspective, into a force. What was that, boys? I mean, take nothing away from Heroic. It was pretty sick 5-7 work from Glaive and Valda as well, I think it was. But come on, boys. That makes this a real rough start for Fnatic. Almost worst case scenario, you pick up the pistol, lose a subsequent round, have no economy, and if they lose this, they'll be back onto an eco. So that would be Heroic likely taking a 12-7 lead. All things go their way. But there are Tech 9s, Eagles and Kevlar. And so maybe there's a way back into this. Venton's missing off on a couple teed shots. Have a look at this. Dennis is in a sneaky position. I'm not sure if they'd have expected him to be here right now, but the AK will trump over the Deagle point blank range. And Fnatic now just have Lekro and Olof left. Scratch that, it's just Lekro. Could get the drop onto Snappy as he's reloading. Lands the headshot, but that should be all she wrote for round number 18. And Valda could very well get this final frag. No, it's going to be Muddy. I was looking at the rotation, 11-7. As I said, there will be no buy into this round. Please, no buy, Fnatic. It would make no sense. Upgraded P250 is fine, but I'm hoping that's all they get in this round, and indeed it will be. They'll be able to rummage together a buy in the next one as a result of a couple of rounds of round loss bonus coming in. But this puts Heroic in a very strong position, firmly in the driver's seat now, dictating the pace of the action. My crossfire has been set up. Spray through the smoke. There's no reason not to. They know that Fnatic are into an eco. The chances of a full-on push are very likely. Here comes Valdes with the AK-47. Dennis, the only player to trade out a frag with the Glock. And 12-7 will be our scoreline. But this is the round that we've been waiting for. AKs, nades, and Fnatic need to get in winning ways right here, right now. Otherwise, Cobblestone could just slip away from them. They will be greeted by a very healthy buy, courtesy of the Danes. Flashbang into the face of Valda, but no push behind it. And so Heroic will not be panicking too much just yet. Meanwhile, Free is going to come head-to-head with Twist and comes out worse for wear. And if Twist can get his hands on that AWP, then things get really interesting. Dennis is going to catch Snappy. As soon as he misses a first shot onto him, he's a dead man. Did at least trade out for Venton before dying, but for me, the key part there was that Free's just totally whiffing out on the shot. And there's the AWP trading hands and Twist making it work for his team. Here comes Glaive charging through with nearly a double spray down. That would have been beautiful Counter-Strike. Hyper aggressive, all by himself. Rambo mode engaged, but unfortunately for Heroic, not quite good enough to take back this round in itself. I just don't see Valda going for this. I think we're going to see exit frags and not much else. I mean, he does have an incendiary with a kit, but it's 3-play-1, so I don't know, man. The economy's in an okay position for the CTs. Does he just try and take down as many weapons as possible? I mean, we've seen clutches from more difficult positions than this before. There's the first one. Position compromised now. Can hear the pattern of footsteps. He's landed a second frag. He's making this very costly for the terrorists. He's not going to be able to get the round clutch, but if Twist stays on the site, he's a dead man to the bomber. He pushes out. He could be a dead man to Valda. He was thinking about charging that down, so Twist will save the AWP. And Fnatic will save for this round, just about by the skin of their teeth in the end. Or we'll have another buy with the AK save. Balder can drop that easily. They can even purchase another AWP if they so choose. But Freeze has been struggling a little bit, I think it's safe to say. He's 6 and 15, for example, boys. He's by far and away bottom fragging on the CT side. And when your AWP is dropping 6 kills on Cobblestone, things are getting a little bit precarious. Still his team are 4 rounds ahead, which I think just goes to show how well the likes of Valder and Snappy have been playing. Whoops, Freeze. Olaf's on 5 for 18. Jeez. How often do you say that? How the mighty have fallen, huh? Venton in the meanwhile is going to be coming up with a Galil, lands the headshot. Opens up the round nicely. Snappy's going to try and answer back, but Venton's good for 2 entries. And those 2 entries will probably force Heroic into a save. I just don't see them going for this. Their economy is in tatters. They pretty much have to save onto these weapons and try and replenish a couple in the next rounds and come back stronger, but that will be Fnatic in the blink of an eye taking the rounds by the neck and making it theirs. They will now trail by 3 rounds. They'll be needing a lot more entries like that if they want to salvage this map. Not looking like the T's too interested in charging down these weapons either. It's really only Olaf that's coming in. Don't think he's going to find anyone though. He's not moving quick enough. So Heroic likely will save 3 weapons. The only player he could be coming head to head with is Freeze. And Freeze really should be saving this orb. Yeah, that's a smart thing. Expends quite a lot of utility though, honestly, to make sure that the push didn't come in there. Maybe panicking a tiny bit, but still Heroic will keep 3 weapons intact and can drop a couple across. So Fnatic are holding on for dear life, and so far they've been able to dodge some bullets. But with Heroic having such a buffer of rounds, it only takes the 1 mistake and Fnatic are back onto the back foot very briskly. In the meanwhile, Flash is landing again. We've seen this a couple of times from Fnatic. They've thrown a flash, but then don't follow up behind it. It will push the CTs back a little bit, though. Not getting the platform control just yet, although Glaive goes back in seconds. Looking for the spray and does so much damage onto Olaf, who drops down to 3. That's going to stick. So how do Fnatic counteract that? I mean, Olaf is having a rough day at the office, but the guy, we still know what he's capable of doing. Glaive eating some fire damage. He moves to the alcove, but him relocating gives him a position to now go for the spray down. The flashes are coming in thick and fast, but Modi has so many players lining up for him. Can only get the 1 before dropping. In the meanwhile, Valder goes in for a second frag, and now it's all on Glaive. He's going to land himself one. It's all on Olaf, who started this round getting smashed through the smoke. Surely it's not possible, and indeed it won't be, and therein lays the issue. Fnatic put together 2 rounds, but now they're right back to the drawing board. They can afford AKs, they can afford a decent enough buy. We're getting towards the finish line now, and Heroic are considerably ahead. Hold the phone a second. Olaf may have had enough of this. He's like, screw this noise, boys. I'm going in. I'm taking no prisoners. Let's see if it works out for him. It's not. Valder just peeks round the corner. Even though he's getting sprayed down, made of holes at this point with 6 health. Still gets the 1 tap, of course. In the meanwhile, Freeze on the stables is going to land that shot there. It was looking pretty precarious. Modi comes in for the save. I think Freeze did land that shot onto Dennis, but it was partially through the wall. But Dennis drops down to 20. And Valda is going to try and wrap himself around. I thought at first there's no way it's going to be a B plant, but he's so low he can't afford to come through the door, so this actually makes sense. Now he's hoping the rest of his team can hold off the push, which is looking good. Lekro is down to 10. Glaive slightly whiffing out on that opportunity. 45 seconds left. The bomb is in a pretty nasty position as far as Lekro is concerned, but he's going to slowly but surely move his way there. And look at Valda, he's done laps of the map. He's not even required. The tilt is real. He's like, dude, I just rotated all the way around the map. And then Glaive takes the kill from underneath my nose. Feels bad, man. But what feels good is that Heroic are 14-9 ahead. For them, at least. I'm sure there's a lot of Fnatic fans that would certainly have a different opinion. And have Fnatic into a force of Tech9's Kevlar. A lot of their rounds have came off these kind of buys, though. So I'm not even going to write them off. Should be mentioned that they were also on the CT sides. Here comes the very quick play again, and Olaf just spots the head under his chin. Valda goes for the hug, and gets slapped back down again. They don't execute fast after this from plat side. Instead, they go through drop. There's so much smoke, enough to choke on. Can Modi get anything done here? You can hear gunfire all around him, but Fnatic are going for the jugular. 2 playing 3. Now it's all on Snappy. He's got the AK-47. Gonna get the spray down onto Twist. Turn his attention towards the site, which is where Venton's just planted. But he's making so much noise. Fnatic will get a 10th. All off the back of a super aggressive push. And now Heroic's economy is in a place that you assume they go for the eco. I mean, Glaive, in that kind of situation where, if the rest of the team were on 1700, I feel like they would just force. So they'd have to double eco anyway, but with the rest of the team having decent funds. But I'll be curious to see if this round does go the way you expect with Fnatic taking it. What Glaive is going to have in store. Could be a UMP, Mag 7 potentially. We shall see. Look at this play though, a heavy stack in mids. You got Valda here, close angle, behind him's Glaive and Freeze. Valda's waiting, the flashes have came in, he's going to get the 1 kill, but nothing else out of this one. It's Glaive's going to step up, everyone switching to is dying instantly, but Heroic are keeping themselves in this round. Freeze can hear the movement to his right hand side. Desperately wanted the AK-47 as opposed to the USP. This has been far from a smooth round for Fnatic. They should still take this though. Modi's going to be coming through. I've got to say, that's really intelligent play from Dennis. You know that the last player likely has like a USP after seeing a buy ahead of it, and that he'd be desperate to get his hands on the AK-47s that are in mid. So he just actually sits there. There's no rush. Just sitting there, playing super passive, playing turret mode, and not allowing even the remote possibility of Heroic getting that round for themselves. I like it. It's going to be the fast play Dennis with pixel perfect aim. Snatches Snappy in midair. Plucks out the kill. But Freeze is going to come back for one of his own. And so will Modi. Putting the cat among the pigeons. Heroic are taking a lot of damage across the board. They don't have too many grenades to play with, but they're landing headshots where it counts. Olaf comes in for a quick fire double. He's been completely absent so far on this map, but now's a good time to show up. Valda, all that remains has been tagged and fragged from Olaf. Welcome to Cobblestone, good sir. It's been a while, but you are here. Big rounds. Heroic back to a broken economy. 14-12 in the lead, but that can quickly be bridged. It seems to me that the fast, hyper-aggressive plays for Fnatic have been yielding much better results. When the round is dragged on a little bit, that's where Heroic get the upper hand. But they must know that Heroic are into an eco now, so that actually plays into the ecoed pistols, especially if you move into a stack. So understandable that Fnatic would be slowing it down a little bit here. What's up, Waycools? How you doing? Now, the Fnatic of old were known as the quintessential comeback kings. Olafmeister with the headshot. Just a couple P250s in play. Make that 3 now. Freeze is going to pick up Glaives from his corpse. And in the meanwhile, Fnatic are slowly turning the screws over on the B side. But still, the bulk of the CT defense is over here. 2 of which are in drop. I think they're going for a boost. This could cost Valde his life. Not quite. Not looking at it just yet. So, if they decide to go for that boost, then things could get quite interesting. Freeze, pardon me, is the player that does get the frag. And meanwhile, Valde's coming around from the back, but his team are dropping like flies. And it is all on him. One of the win conditions of a boost like this is that the rest of your team stay alive on the site. And it's the same thing when you see these rotations coming, these vast rotations from one side of the map to the other. You need your team to be having a solid foundation on the site so you can actually build off that with the rotate. And unfortunately for Valde in this case, doesn't really pay off for him. But it's a pistol round. Can't be too dismayed. Fnatic will bring us 1 round closer to equality once more. They were looking a bit worse for wear after winning the pistol than losing the next round. At one point, I believe they're 12-7 behind, but they've bridged that gap. However, if Heroic win this, they're just 1 shy of the entire map going their way. And Olaf certainly has been stepping up these last few rounds. At one point, I think he's, what, 5 for 19, guys? I know a lot of you are keeping track of that in chat. Now, 11 for 20, pardon me. It's Freeze, it's 10 for 20. But a lot of those have been very important kills in this T side. So, I am the overtime magnet. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying, the amount of overtimes I get when I'm solo casting is unbelievable. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see it go that way again. Heroic may have something to say about that. And of course, Fnatic could still outright win the map from this point. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, but certainly burrowing in the back of my mind at least. It's just Lekro by himself for the time being in drop. He's making a lot of noise, trying to be a pain in the backside. The CTs, but it's going to be the bulk of the aggression coming up through mid. Benton leading the charge. We've seen the entries from him with the Galils beforehand. This time it's going to be Dennis that picks it up. Snappy in the meanwhile from Stables has a really difficult job ahead of him. The flashes are going to keep him alive for a few more seconds, but where does he turn? It's such a brutal position to be in at that stage of the round. Glaive now is trying to pick up the slack, but out into the AWP he will go. And at this point, surely Heroic just try and save. There's no chance in getting this retake. Although Valde did just pick up a frag, so that could bait in the CTs. There's 15 seconds, so actually a couple of things that could play for them, and Valde comes through with the spray down. Oh my goodness, is this possible? It's going to come down to Olaf. He's got 5 seconds to plant. He's going to get the plant down, but will he die instantly afterwards? Valde's already in position, and he's going to land the first headshot. Freeze, in the meanwhile, still is nowhere near the site. He has a long, arduous task of coming through the double doors, and there's Olafmeister with the spray and 3 HP. Fnatic have got it somehow, someway. And Heroic, being pipped to the post, are so low on funds. What do they do now? The pause has been called. I'm sure this is tactical, of course. So rough, but Olaf has pulled it out somehow. Yeah, I said they probably wouldn't go for the retake, so at that time it was a 2-on-4. But then Valde got a kill as I was saying it, so of course that opened the round back up again. But the reason why I was thinking about that is because of Heroic's economy being where it is right now. I mean, if they have 2 weapons saved, you're looking at 2 drops, they could actually rummage together a pretty solid buy in this round. I mean, it wouldn't be ideal, of course, but it would be workable. Especially considering that Freeze had an AWP, they had an assault rifle alongside that. But, of course, as soon as you go down to 2-on-3, then it's very much worthwhile going for. And it's going to be a force. I think Lekro had some issues, so he's going to be reconnecting. So what does Modi go for? 3.5k. They are lacking a little bit of assault rifle firepower. He could go for FAMAS. Decisions. Could be another UMP though, to be honest. That's what we've been saying, right? Like, Olaf at one point was 5 for 17, 5 for 18. He's now 13 for 20. But over this last 4 to 5 rounds, Olaf has probably been the MVP for Fnatic. He's got clutches. He's got massive 2 frags, you know, 2 entry frags, holding down positions. So I don't think you can understate the importance that Olaf has had on this map. But to be fair, he was absent for the first 3 quarters at least. FAMAS, worst weapon in the game. Really, bro. I'm just really curious to see what mod he goes for here. There's quite a few different options that he has. Apparently, Lekro's timing out, so it's a bit of an anticlimactic end to the map, especially if this drags on for a little bit. But how are you guys doing in chat? Obviously, I'm solo casting today again, so my co-casters. How's it hanging, boys? I'm not saying that a few rounds will, you know, wipe the slate clean for how he's played the rest of the map, but, you know, you've got to give credit where it's due. He has been stepping up his game considerably the last few rounds. I prefer to focus on the positives as opposed to the negatives. And if they do end up winning this map, I think Olaf is certainly a pretty integral part of that, at least over these last few rounds. I mean, if you want to go for the overall MVP for Fnatic, it's, of course, Twist. They got 6 rounds only on CT side, but Twist was instrumental in the bulk of those with his ult work on long. He was playing like a god, honestly. Right, so Lekro's back on the server. Match still paused. I'm in the same position as you guys right now. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I'm still really curious to see what Modi goes for. Okay, guys, predictions in chat. What do you think Modi buys here? I would personally like to see if FAMAS picked up, but we shall see. He's going to go for UMP for extra utility. Fair enough. It's just for me personally, I thought that they're lacking a bit of assault rifle prowess at range. So he may go for FAMAS, but nope, he's going to go for the UMP instead. Understandable. So here we go. A real poor buy for Heroic, who've been in the lead pretty much throughout this entire map. But Fnatic, once again, coming back from a horrible deficit, a horrible situation. UMP's better for spray. As I say, I mean, honestly, UMP's totally fine here. Makes sense. They want to get the extra utility. He also managed to pick himself up a second kit. XM and 2 flashes would have also been understandable. See that sometimes on, you know, playing drop, which is where he's currently sat. So the setup so far for Heroic is playing to the weapon's advantages. You can see Freeze super close, up close and personal with the Max 7. Snappy behind him with the UMP. And the assault rifle for Valda is up on the tree. So this makes a lot of sense so far. The thing is, though, when the chips are being placed down, Fnatic will have the superior firepower. There is no doubting that. There's also no HEs in the hands of Heroic, so they can't even double stack a couple nades now when these grenades are starting to throw on in, to chime in towards the site. Now, what I will say is, in terms of the weaponry that Heroic have, if this is a B hit, this could be a bloodbath. And Olaf Meister's got picked off first. Here comes the retaliation charge. It's into flashes, though. Valda can't see from the tree at this stage, and that's going to really hurt their opportunity to try and lock this down. 3 plays 3, though, as Valda gets the 1 kill before dropping. And now this is where the AK should take charge. They should take command over the situation. Modi's using the smoke to his advantage, though, with the UMP. But Freeze will go down. Modi, in the meanwhile, gets picked off second, and Fnatic will take the lead in the dying embers of Cobblestone, leaving Heroic in a similar economic situation to the last round, honestly. Very similar amounts of cash. They have slightly more in a couple of plays. This time they will go for double FAMAS. And an M4 for Freeze, but that's going to be... okay, he's going to actually drop that to Valda. Instead he goes for Max 7. I was going to say, that'll be a glass cannon M4, which is never ideal. But instead the Max 7 is picked up. Now, this is enough weaponry to make work in this final round, so I'm not going to say Fnatic definitely have this, but again, similar to the last round, you'd expect them to get the job done. This first kill, pardon me, could be so vital. You can see that they're Modi and Olof pretty close by, although Olof is down on long sides. Freeze in a similar position. He didn't get spotted last round, of course it was a B hit, so he's going to be using the same position again. You can hear a lot of footsteps, and he's going to get forced out from the Molotov. But Fnatic still yet to decide which side of the map they're going to aggress on. Bomb drop slap bang in the middle of the map has been salvaged. 50 seconds left. Fnatic starting to make a move onto B, which unfortunately for Heroic is where they are at the weakest right now. They've got a Modi with the UMP, Glaive with the FAMAS. Modi spots the head, and here come the grenades. This is where the push is telegraphed. How quickly can the CTs get themselves into the site? And more importantly, can Heroic get any kills from this? And the answer is looking like a resounding no, as the frags are just coming in thick and fast, leaving Freeze in a 1-on-5 with a Max 7. Or Fnatic will take map number 1. And they're going to do just that. Olof comes back for the final frag of the map. And Fnatic have somehow, someway pulled this off. Heroic are going to be depressed. 12-7 up. The economy of the terrorists was in the gutter. They still end up losing out. Big map for Fnatic though. They're currently in 6th position. That win, I think, will put them now into 3rd or 4th place. And they will be 14-7 on maps in terms of score. So, big win. Sad loss for Heroic. But we do have another map coming up next, which I believe is Train. Let me just double check that to make sure for you guys, so I'm not spreading false information. Yep, next map is Train. So, going to round off for now. Going to turn my mic off, put the music back on again. When we rejoin us, will be live for map number 2. Don't go anywhere.